If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
How you guys doing this morning? Thought I'd start us off with a little just easy toe dip in the water of very profound statements about culture. Yeah, prophetic, exactly, Rallin. Exactly, dude. That was originally broadcast in, I think, was it 65 or 68? Dude. It is so wild. Hindsight and history is so absolutely wild. How you guys doing? I'm Hat and Beard. This is the Hat and Beard Show. Mad Hatter Nation. We got stuff to talk about. We got 2026 NFL Draft. 10 rookies in position to succeed in year one and beyond. Well, hopefully they succeed in beyond year one. You know, ideally there's more than just 10, but we have 10 spotlighted rookies according to Tom Blair. Special Projects Lead. Look at you. Look at that, huh? Look at that fancy title. Special Projects Lead. That's a fancy title for a reporter, dude. I don't know what kind of projects, special projects. You guys doing a bunch of renovations over there? You got a bunch of oh, I get it. You're in charge of like your carbon footprint. You're trying to update NFL studios. That's what you are, but you just happen to spit this article out. I'm confused by the title there, but hey, did skim it. It'll be fun to look through. We will take a look at that. We also will then shift gears and look at the 2026 Grit Index, examining the Detroit Lions NFL draft class. We're going to take a closer look at some, not going to look at all of them, but some of the Lions 2026 draft class and how they fit into the Grit Index. Of course, this is coming to us from POD, Pride of Detroit, by Eric Schlett. over there. And with it being Wednesday, of course, you guys know Wednesdays are, well, it's the off season. So Wednesdays are film room studies, guys. We got film to go over here. And, I don't know, man, if it's just like all interconnected or if my guy, Mr. Figs, been watching the same algorithmic slop that I get. But happened to hop into my algorithm the other day, and he was talking about it. We were talking about it just yesterday. If you didn't watch it, go back and watch yesterday's episode of the Hat and Beard Show. Of course, it's in the. Just go head on over to my channel. But we gotta talk about Patrick Mahomes, right? My guy here, Isaac Punts. Go ahead and I'm not subscribed. My guy, I'm so sorry. Boom. Subscribe to Isaac Punts. We're gonna check out what Isaac Punts has. It's time to talk about Patrick Mahomes. Okay. I did watch this yesterday. Full disclosure. The dude makes a couple compelling arguments. All right, so we will watch and see what he has pulled up for us over here at the YouTube. Speaking of YouTubes, if you want to engage in the chat, you're gonna have to subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, of course, ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we go live, Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here at YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. Man, we got 21 of you guys over there on Kick. I appreciate that. Rumble is, of course, the place to be. She's a cool lady, man. She was hip, man. She was hip, dude. She was hip. Check out if you know that. Knock on wood. If you know what movie that's from, Martha Washington. She was a cool lady, man. She was hip, man. She was a cool lady, bro. Rumble is the place to be, of course. It's a free speech alternative to YouTube, but YouTube kicking it, rocking and rolling, bro. There we go. Tampa Lions fans, bro. This is a morning show. I know, dude. My bad. Did I start a little too heavy with you guys with the Paul Harvey going a little too hot and heavy over there? Met our guy Dan has Isaac Punt. Met our guy Dan doesn't. I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. Patrick Mahomes punches puppies. Yeah, I used to be one of those guys that was kind of like, hey, he's basically Shooter McGavin. But I've come around a little bit on Patrick Mahomes. A little bit. I did. It isn't so much that I like Patrick Mahomes. It's just that sometimes I'm like, I'm like, wow, all right, that was impressive. that was impressive. Damn. The boy can ball. And Kyler Murray looks on in awe, like, why couldn't I be that? And he kicks his little tiny feet and stomps his feet. Him and Bryce Young just waddle back to the Keebler fudge tree factory there where they work. But do all the things and stuff and things. Share this around with all of your friends, guys. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the very easy to digest morning show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Brent Supreme, I actually like that comment for two reasons. One, I'm a big Jack Fox fan, all right? So I do agree with you. The Jack Fox is a bad dude. But I'm also going to go out on a limb here and say that you woke up and you enjoyed yourself some vitamins T, H, and C this morning. All right, buddy. I appreciate that, dude, now that we are all on the same page. Let's just peruse. I just want to let you guys know. I didn't handpick this for any reason. Just, I don't know if this list is in any perceived order or just random. Just as we skim. The 2026 NFL Draft is behind us, maybe far enough that you're starting to feel a little uncomfortable. Yes, I am. I am very I don't like this time of year. Can we have something? Can I just get a job working down as a maintenance guy down Allen Park? You know what I mean? Is there any way that we can start a social media campaign that I can work as a facilities guy for the Lions just so that I can have my football addiction satiated? You know what I'm saying? I promise I won't talk about nothing. I promise I won't talk about nothing that I see. But I need it. You know what I'm saying? NFL Network is far too corporatized. I don't get that. Y'all remember, you remember back in the day, back when NFL Network was like a new bucking Bronco out there, just throwing caution to the wind like two young kids breaking all the rules, man. They're like Michael Scott and Helene. God, I hope. Man, it's my day off, so I'm making all the references, guys. It's yeah, you know what I'm saying. They're just two young cats breaking all the rules. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck was I talking about, dude? Oh yeah. I need my football addiction satiated, dude. You know what I'm saying? So NFL Network used to have like the greatest games. You know what I'm saying? They had NFL Network, NFL films, dude. Now it's just slop. I mean, it's just slop. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. But we're trying to get through it, and we're getting through it together. Knock on wood if you're with me, men. You know what I'm saying? Slap that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can get through. I will be our headwinds. I'm manning the ship as we go from island to island across Mad Hatter Nation, going from one destination to the other. We will get through this offseason together. The pipeline of prospect analysis has been cut off. It's a bris upon the pipeline process of analysis. All the anticipation over what could have happened gave way to the excitement of selections and trades actually happening. And now it's all in the sands of time. The history books have been written, and soon we will see that, of course, history is written by the victors, the big 2-6. Yeah! Are we going down that road? Are you guys going to make me go off on the big 2-6 again? Are we going to go down the big 2-6 and the big 2-6? Huh! Bro, I can feel it. I can feel it in my balls, in my footballs. You know what I'm saying? This position of the calendar can feel a tad short on fuel for football obsessives. And doesn't my view count reflect it? Don't worry. There's a solution to the post-draft blues. Rookie mini camps. Yeah, it's like a mini game inside of a game. You don't want to play it, but you're just like, fuck it, dude. I have nothing better to do. I'm just gonna go play. I'm gonna play the card game in Witcher for a few hours because I got nothing. I don't want to end the game yet. I'm just trying to milk it out here. You know what I'm saying? God, what is that game? What was that? I actually got really good at that damn game. I played the shit out of Witcher 3, dude. I played like 500, 600 hours of Witcher 3. It is absolutely ridiculous what I did, and it's obnoxious. Absolutely obnoxious. Actual game action is cruelly far away. But these initial glimpses of first-year pros in action are a nice little taste. Sure. One could even use them as an excuse to get back into fevered speculation mode, resulting in, say, a list of 10 rookies best positioned to have success from the jump. Yes, below I've gathered 10 such rookies, trying to focus on players who are A, ready to produce right away, B, primed to meet an immediate team need, and C, entering a favorable developmental situation, or D, all of the above. Organizational stability and competitiveness factored in as well. Okay. So that's just a fancy way to saying, hey, if you know ball, these guys have the best opportunity. Number one on the list. Everybody was high on him. I was fascinated with the guy, but not only, like, the only other worst thing that Sonny Styles could have had happen to him, so he went to the commies, and that's disgusting. The Washington commies, bro. Nobody likes commies, dude. We like freedom over here. I'm actually wearing a fucking capitalist shirt. That wasn't even planned, dude. I'm literally wearing a shirt that says capitalist underneath it, dude. Crowdershop.com. But Sonny Styles had to go to the commies. The only thing worse would have gone have been a pecker or a bear or a Vikeween. But last season, Carson Schweschinger stepped in the middle of a stacked Brown Eyes defense and romped to the Defensive Rookie of the Year award, stockpiling 146 tackles while making a meaningful contribution to the pass rush with 2.5 sacks and 20 pressures and chipping in a pair of picks. Styles looks ready to do some similar stat stuffing in his in his first pro season. Okay, he won't have anyone of Myles Garrett level in front of him, but he'll still get to work with plenty of veteran talent and a proven defensive minded head coach, Dan Quinn. And, of course, the Commies are expected to actually compete, with Jaden Daniels' offense doing plenty of the heavy lifting if everything goes according to plan. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just need Jaden Daniels to prove that he's not that history's not repeating himself with the treatment of his body that happened to RG3, bro. I don't want to be 5 years down the road and there's some goofy ass Instagram post from Jaden Daniels where him and his little girl are over in France deep throating a baguette together. Do I need to pull up the picture? I don't want to do it. But I don't want to see any of that out of Jaden Daniels, okay? I actually kind of like Jaden Daniels for the sheer point of, fuck Giggle Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like to hell with Giggle Williams. We already know Styles has the kind of athletic profile that gets folks googly-eyed. Now picture him using his superpowers to flow to the ball as a dynamic young centerpiece of Quinn's fortified defense. When Quinn says he can't wait to coach Styles, it might sound like a boilerplate offense or offseason hype, but in Quinn's case, it wouldn't be surprised if he actually is counting how many sleeps there are before he gets to work his prized new pupil in a defense that finished 31st in EPA per play last season, per Next Gen Stats. Number 2! And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that this is actually a who he predicts as a number 1 who has the best chance, number 2 who has the second best chance. Would you look at this? Everybody was all like, "Bah, they should have taken Monroe Freeling. Bah. Caden Proctor. Dr. Big Bum. Dr. Big Bum. Oh, they need a Dr. Big Bum. Wow, but Monroe Freeling was still on the board, dude. Why'd they take Balake Miller?" 54 starts. That's why. 54 starts. Iron Man. The Lions clearly see Miller, who has 54 college starts to his name, as a pro-ready prospect, which is great because they have Miller's ready offensive line. The unit wasn't the only thing that went sideways for Detroit in 2025, but fixing it could be the most efficient way to level the Lions back into the NFC's upper class. In 2025, Detroit registered the second highest QB pressure rate of 34.3% of Dan Campbell's tenure, with a steep drop in EPA per drop back from 2024 from 0.25 to 2025's 0.12, as the ground game, a slip-in average rushing yards per contact of 1.8 to 1.5 corresponded with a reduction in EPA per carry from 0.4 to negative 0.6. Boy, don't I sound smart with the numbers? We feel so smart. Pinky's out, gentlemen. In fact, there's actually no reason. The reason that you put the pinky out on the cup is because with the teacup, if you use a properly sized teacup, the pinky actually balances it and makes it ergonomically correct. It has nothing to do with class. It is simply because of body mechanics. If Campbell and Go, Dan Campbell and Go, we're here to bite out Dan Campbell and Co., kneecap demolition experts, dude. Let's go. We're here to bite them off, dude. I think that it's time that we get. You want to get back? You want to get back to the gritty Dan Campbellness? We want to get back to what we do. We want to run the ball. We need some kneecap stew from Dan Campbell and Co. Are going to make sure last season goes down as a blip in the Jared Goff era. They need someone to help seal up the QB's protection and get the run game rolling again as they move on from Frank the Tank Ragnow and Titty Decker. If Miller's got the goods, which he does, he'll be leaned on to keep the Lions' current competitive window extended for as long as possible. And as long as Campbell and Co. are running the show, you know that when Campbell and Co. are running the show, that window will never close. Bro, I think I'm gonna get like a sound, like an audio clipboard, bro. And one of the things, I'm just gonna have like a fucking like a bunch of Tucker laughs, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm gonna have a laugh track of Tucker Carlson laughs, bro. That's what I need. I need a laugh track of Tucker Carlson like a room of clucking Carlsons, bro. I need I need a run of clucking Carlsons. Dude, I gotta I gotta make an image. I gotta image out like like a chicken coop or like a run of chickens, and they're just like all a bunch of clucking, laughing Tucker Carlsons, bro. I don't know why that's really. Oh, that's what it is. I'm very high. I'm very high this morning, guy. I realized I maybe might have hung out with Benjamin a little bit harder than I normally do this morning. I'm also just in a good mood not to be at work. You know what I'm saying? I'm also in a good mood not to be at work. You know what I mean? It's just gotta find that gold. Gotta find that liquid gold. I gotta find that Texas tea. I'm gonna go out and hunt me some rabbits, dude, and then we're gonna move to Beverly Hills, that is. You know what I'm saying, fellas? Let's go. Mansoor Delane, number 3. Here you go, Mr. Fig, talking about your guy, bro. Talking about your guy. All right, this is a Detroit Lions and chef-centric episode, huh? Mansoor Delane got it all, at least for the purpose of making this list head of the class talent. If you guys recall, I was like, hey, if Delane's there at 17, a top 10 draft pedigree, extremely stable in his new coaching staff and premium spot on a roster with a good chance to be competitive. That's not the easiest combo to pull off, as the majority of the early draft picks in record history will probably tell you. The Chefs had a tough 2025, and they still have Andy Reid, and most importantly for Delane, Steve Potato Spagnuolo running the show from the sideline. Eventually, Patrick Mahomes will be back from his knee injury and get the organization into the Super Bowl mix again. Yes, probably, but we were. Put the cart a little bit before the horse. You know what I'm saying? It's only those of us who have had a quarterback that the last 3 years have consistently thrown for 30 touchdowns can really go out and arguably say, "Hey, yeah, we will be in the mix. We need to ain't coming off the I'm saying JG16 for MVP." Whether that happens by week 1 or not, in the meantime, Delane can take the role of a successful young star DB that has been well established in KC by the likes of Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed. Yes. Historically, you have maybe more of a proven path to success than, say, obviously like a Terry Arnold, right? However, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes, my guy. Just because you stand on the shoulders of giants, come on now. Just because you stand on the shoulders of giants doesn't mean you're a giant, my friend. You still have to prove it in the big league, my guy. Knock on wood if you're with me, fellas. Let's go. Jordan Tyson, yeah, of course, because when you're the only guy that can really get any type of a target share, duh. You dude, I'm sorry. Jordan Tyson, now that I kind of think about it, are Saints wide receivers merely, when you think of the good ones, Michael Thomas, Marquise Colston, when you're the only guy that can catch the ball? When you're basically it's one and who? I know that they got Chris Olave. But can he really stay healthy? You know what I'm saying? Is he going to be healthy all year long? Or is he just a solid number 2 when he's available? You know what I'm saying? Reuben Bain with his little bitty arms. Dylan Thieneman, no. No bear will ever flourish under the tenure of Small PP Benedict Arnold, Osama Ben Johnson, the traitor in the Windy City, and poor Dylan Thieneman. Poor little tank. Going to go to the Bears and have his career ruined right from the jump. Caleb I have Downs. I do think that Caleb I have Downs. Now, I don't know if he's going to be all that great, but my opinion, the pedigree of the player, the draft position of the player, the personality of the player, not only does it fit itself with Dallas, but because Dallas is what Dallas is and he has the pedigree and the player profile, it will give him more leash in the eyes of the public before the bust or not performing label is slapped on him. It's just the reality of it, dude. It's when you have a certain amount of swag, dude. Think of it as like pretty privilege. You know what I'm saying? It gets a little bit more leeway than say, Blake Miller. Let's just call it what it is, dude. We might as well call him Chad Downs. There you go. He's Chad. He's Chad Swag Downs. You know what I'm saying? Carnell Taint. Now I did say that. Look. Tennessee did need a solid number one. I kind of thought maybe they'd go running back, maybe bring in some solid foundation pieces, but they wanted to go Carmel Taint. Okay. Hey, sure. Again, when you're like one of the only guys out there, he might as well just be a number one. Jadarian Price, we'll see. I don't know, man. Again, it's just like, hey, you're gonna have to prove it, but yes, he is at least poised to have a monumental rookie season, dude, in my opinion. And TJ Parker, you guys know I was really high on TJ Parker. Going to Buffalo, it's a solid landing spot for him. They're in desperate need of a really impactful young defensive edge player. They got him listed as an outside linebacker. I of course wanted him here in Detroit, but things don't work out. These are just some players to poke around on. Honestly, guys, I was just really hyped about the fact that not only is a Lions player listed, but Blake Miller is listed at number 2. I don't know if this is actually a listed out, number 1 chance, number 2 chance, or if it's just purely by random. But you gotta love seeing Blake Miller, dude, because honestly, we take our victory lap here about the projection of him coming to the Lions, but I feel like a lot of people were down on the Blake Miller pick, dude. I really do, man. I feel like a lot of people were unsatisfied with it. Before we examine some of the grit index here, we're going to walk through Mad Hatter Nation. How you guys doing? Let's go. This is time of year. It's make stuff up project time. 100%, dude. 100%, dude. As Isaac Punts read that one. What's up, Mr. Fig? Good to see you, man. I never miss cable, but the NBA playoffs are on 4 different apps. Want you to buy. It's BS. Yeah, no, 100%. 100% Tampa. The microtransactions of sports is getting I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it, bro. Lions have some of the best camp battles ever coming soon. Silver players that would be certain keepers will not make this team this year. Maybe Brad will even trade some for draft picks. Hey, Jack. I'm not mad at that, dude. Look, man. If it comes down to it, and okay, so I'm just the first room that comes to mind that kind of crowded. Am I wrong for saying it's the cornerback room? Cornerback room is looking a little crowded, right? Free agent acquisition, Roger McCreary, Christian Eisen, Avante Maddox. They do rotate into the corner room. DJ Reed needs to perform. What do we have in breaks like a straw? Is TA going to be good? Obviously, the acquisition of Keith Abney through the draft, which I found out in this article. Guys. Keith Abney. Very interesting background. Very interesting background. Clucker Tarlson. Bro! Clucker Tarlson. Why didn't I think of that? That's great, Brent. Clucker Tarlson, bro. Yes, dude. I need a field of Clucker Tarlsons, bro. Oh, the hot screw. Damn, Rick. It's true, though. It's true. What's up, Red Skull? How you doing, man? Good morning. Good morning, dude. Good to see you, dude. Welcome to Costco. I love you. The Chiefs just heard your intro and are implementing it. Hell yeah, dude. I hope so, bro. Hell yeah. Tane is our right guard. For sure, he is. And he's going to be a mammoth. He's going to have a huge sophomore year, dude. Thank you, Mr. Detroit City. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for stopping by, man. I know you're out there grinding it, dude. And I appreciate you stopping by in the morning, dude, listening, working and lurking. There's a big chunk of you cats out there just working and lurking, dude. You know what, dude? If you're just listening and you can't engage in the chat, if you can't do it, that's fine, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad that we're getting through this ish together, bro, because... Bro, nobody likes to work, dude. You know what I'm saying? Balake Miller hour. It's Miller time. Oh, dude, that's crazy. Yo, Brent. So like my OBS be like changing interpretations of people. So you put Balake Miller time, and it translated it to Balake Miller hour. It's Miller hour. It's happy hour, baby. It's Miller time. Let's go. Dude, we need a package where Balake Miller comes in at the running back, and we call it happy hour, and it's Miller time. Oh, they just write themselves. What's up, Riley? How you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, dude. Rakestraw will be fine until it rains. Luckily, we play indoors. The majority of all of our home games, and then at least one road game. We got indoor games, going to the Vikings. So there's a lot of indoor games. As long as we can keep Rakestraw out of the elements, hopefully he can stand up. Or if he needs a little bit of the little Billy Blue Chew to get him through. Make that straw stand tall in the wind, dude. Give him a little Billy Blue Chew. Billy Blue Chew, he's here for you. All right, this is a paid advertisement. Just kidding, YouTube. Just kidding. Calm down. Brought to you by Carl's Jr. What do we have here on the Grit Index, you guys? How'd we grade everybody out? I'm not going to read all this fluff nonsense. Here we go. Grit Index players. Elite players. This is guys taken. The Bears got 4. The Lions got 3. Cool. Obviously, Ben Johnson trying to do that Dan Campbellian thing, which is just... Is this what Patriots fans felt like watching all of the Bill Belichick disciples just like flounder out in the world, try and be like him and just fail miserably? Because Ben Johnson is just, skinny Matt Patricia, dude. It is so funny to me to watch just this like Temu version of Dan Campbell. You try and be implemented. At least by all accounts, Aaron Glenn seems to just like be doing his own thing. Clearly it's not working. Can't even get an interception in a season. Barely can win any games, bro. You guys suck. You guys were bad. But at least he's doing his own thing. At least he's doing his own thing, dude. But neither one of them are going to have a job in the next 5 years, dude. You don't have a job. So here's a Grit Index score for the Lions draft class. Balake Miller with a 9.67, 6th overall on their Grit Index score, upper elite tier. Derek Moore with a 6.68. Jimmy Rolder with a 6.97. Keith Abney Jr. with a 9.07, 26th overall. Skylar Gill Howard also with a nice little 9.48 overall. Keith Abney, though, I am slowly becoming more and more fascinated with this prospect. This player. He's not a prospect anymore. He's on the roster. This guy. Let's quickly read over Blake Miller. Obviously, Miller is one of the 6 players landing in the upper elite, plus the Lions need at right tackle. Dots the connection, connected it in the way that made him the logical choice at pick 17 in the first round. In fact, he was such a good fit that he was the primary focus of our first article, which delved deeper into certain positions. Also, if you listen to my content, we've been telling you he was the guy. In that piece, we discussed traits. Leadership, he was the team captain at Clemson. Intelligence, he's a film junkie, translates to on-field production. Perseverance, despite growing up in Ohio, his dad being an Ohio State graduate, and receiving an offer from the Buckeyes where he were just in the college football national championships, he opted to forge his own path at Clemson. Look at you, dude. I like that. Dependability, work ethic, doesn't cheat his teammates or himself with his commitment to the team. 54 straight starts over the 4 seasons Clemson record and his durability. His toughness, broke his wrist in spring workouts, missed just 1 practice for surgery, and was back on the field the next day. A lot of preparation. Practice was the only one he missed during his career. Began weightlifting at age 8. Then wrestling in high school. He was a state championship. He's an all-freshman, 3-time all-ACC, freshman all-American. Hell yeah, that's absolutely badass. Derek Moore, we looked at him the other day. We have plenty of time to go over these other guys. I want to talk about Keith Abney. From a talent perspective, Abney was considered a steal for the Lions. Not only does his college film point to a top 100 player, but his Grit Index score puts him in the elite category. Abney has a quality array of grit attributes, scoring multiple times in multiple areas, most notably competitiveness and instincts. I actually had to look this up. I honestly, before I even decided that this was going to be the article, I got to this very part here, and I had to look it up, and it's true. He's a do-everything athlete. Keith Abney is a national championship / record holder as an inline speed skater. Rollerblades. Yeah. And he's been doing it since he was a kid. That's fucking wild, man. Like how random. How I like it, when I seen it and looked it up, I was like, well, it makes sense. I didn't even know it was a thing, dude. Like, it kind of blew my mind. But yeah, dude, he is a national championship / record holder in inline speed skating. That's fucking wild, man. That's fucking wild. He plays bigger than his size, initiates contact, competitive temperament, competitive fire, and takes pride as an elite run defender, feisty, and fights through the catch point. The only thing that could be a negative with is if he shows TA's hands and starts getting his dirty little dick beaters all over the wide receiver. He's a no free rides physical player. His instincts, great feel for play design, route anticipation, elite read and react, twitch, impressive instincts and anticipation. His intelligence has above average IQ. Good. I would hope so. As a collegiate athlete, one would assume that getting a higher form of education would result in some capacity of an increase to average, if not above average IQ. I don't know what average is, but if we're talking like Somalia, I hope he's got a significantly higher average IQ than, I think it's like 66. What is it, Somalia? Or certain major chunks of Africa have actually had research done where like their average IQ is like 66. Not good. That's not good. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. You're not doing very much. You're not making too much innovation. Not a lot going on with that. Gonna want to get those numbers up a little bit. You're gonna want to get those numbers up. He's a culture setter, especially for a new coaching staff. He's trusted and well-respected in Arizona State's building. Very competitive and very smart, an AFC regional scout said. What we miss, not much. Abney has a unique story, and his on-field mentality perfectly matches what the Lions seek. That's awesome. We will look more into all of these players, including my guy Keith Abney. I just wanted to kind of look it over, and we see that, there were a couple of guys that scored really high. 26th overall with Abney, 8th overall with Gil Howard, 6th overall with Block A. Miller, dude. Like, come on, man. Gritty, culture-setting guys, dude. And I think Abney, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not quite ready to say that this cat is about to just like punch way up above his weight class, but like, the more I read about him, dude, I'm just like, damn, dude, this kid ain't bad, man. This cat ain't bad. He got some dog in him, dude. I kind of like that shit. Knock on wood if you're with me. Smash the like button, fellas. How we doing, Mad Hatter Nation? How do we feel about that stuff, man? Always listen, but taking a step back from these chat. Gotcha. They're pretty negative. I come for the show for sure. Hell yeah, man. Nah, for sure. I feel you, dude. I feel you, dude. I'm glad you're here, though, brother. I feel you. I just, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Keith Abney's a really good player, but built like paper straw. Hopefully, like build-wise, he does kind of look like the same, like frame, Hopefully, durability-wise, way different. You know what I'm saying? Way different. Keith Abney was 1.5 inches tall. He would have been a second-round pick for sure. Gotcha. So got that dog in him, that Amik little dog in him, where you don't marry your cousin. You are weird. Well, look at dude, in Somalia, if you're marrying your cousin, they're like, that's weird. You might as well just be marrying a stranger. Look at a certain United States representative from Minnesota. Dude, cousin? Pfft, you got to marry your brother, dude. Are you serious? Cousin you might as well be marrying someone from the fucking moon, dude. That's way too far of a... They like to keep that gene pool real like a puddle. You know what I mean? Like a little puddle. They don't have a pool. No. Keep it very tight, real shallow. You know what I mean? Real shallow. I'm an ass. Knock on wood if you're with me, man. What's up, Reffy? How you doing, man? Hanging out. We got 80 of you cats over on Rumble. Can we get 8 likes over on Rumble? If there's 8 of you guys watching, can I at least get 8 likes? Maybe break that record of 6. All right, guys. We got, wow, would you look at that? 20 minutes of show, 20 minutes of film. It's time to talk about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it is time to talk about Patrick Mahomes. I still think he's a really good quarterback. However, Isaac punts. Gotta make you want to look at it a little bit differently. Just gotta reframe out of some of the narrative and actually look at the numbers. So here we go. Isaac punts, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Head on over and subscribe to Isaac Punt's channel. There's a lot of these guys, dude. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. Sports content isn't really the biggest, draw, right? And it is kind of hard to get viewers and get subscribers. So I do find guys like Isaac Punts, Brett Coleman, Football Analysis, criminally underrated, especially with the amount of subscribers they get. So I do encourage you guys that if I'm putting this out for us to watch, I very much encourage you. The link is in the description to this video. I do give credit to the content creators down in the video. Go over and subscribe to these guys' channel. Show them a little bit of love, dude, because it takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to put this together, especially when something like this, maybe doesn't quite feel like you're going to get the ROI that maybe you should on content like this. But here we go. Let's check this out. What do we got here? Mad Hatter Nation. Speaking of Minnesota, I wonder why they call their training camp Leering Camp. That's one of the running shit. Yep, dude, her dad was a terrible corrupt politician over there. So it has been incorporating Leering Camp. Of course, dude. 100%. It's going to be woke as shit. Let's go, guys. Let's get into this.
Psst, hey, you. Yeah, you. Did you watch the NFL this year? I know you did. I know you did because you watched my channel. And if you're like me, you probably noticed that something was just a little bit off this season. Outside the storylines like the resurgence of the Seahawks, Drake May's breakout campaign, or even how the Broncos have been dominant with a rock-solid defense under Sean Payton, there's one talking point that hasn't really been brought up. It's the quiet downfall of one specific player. The downfall of a guy who was already being crowned the second coming of football Jesus. The downfall of a one Patrick Mahomes. And it's honestly kind of sad. But to truly understand what I'm even talking about, we're of course going to have to go back. But here's a question for you. Do you wish you could go back to the good old days where you were just ripping packs? Today's sponsor, Arena Clickbait. Now, get some packs.
I cannot encourage you enough. If you guys don't, I don't know if it's a premium thing or whatever, but the jump ahead feature, wow, wee wah.
Thank me later. So as the sun rises on this 2017 season, we are watching the Chiefs.
2017, we're going. Hey guys, get in your time machine. We're going way back to 2017. I think that's when me and Hat and Boob started dating. I think it was about 2017, 2016 or somewhere around there. Yeah, it's been like 10 years, right? All right, I can't remember. Something like that. It's been a while. Getting ready for a playoff performance. Andy Reid had his team on a 9-6 start with Alex Smith leading the team, and with a playoff berth already clinched, he was going to let Smith and most of the other starters sit for the final game of the season, where he would let his young, freshly drafted quarterback Patrick Mahomes take the wheel. And what Patrick would do would go a little berserk. Yeah, he wouldn't throw for a touchdown, but he would complete 22 of his 35 passes for 284 yards while methodically moving this offense of complete backups down the field with the ease greater than that which Alex Smith did with the starting crew, as he would move on to beat the Broncos 27-24 without the help of some of the most dynamic offensive weapons in the NFL like Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. So after that, the Chiefs would go on to lose in the playoffs to a Marcus Mariota-led Titans team, where Marcus would be the only quarterback in football history to throw himself a 6-yard touchdown pass. That, wasn't exactly necessary to tell you, but it's... Dude, Marcus Mariota has like one of the goofiest fucking careers in NFL history, dude. Like he just kind of he just makes money, shows up, he leaves teams, he fucking rolls to Super Bowls or is on rosters of teams. Like it's like, how does Marcus Mariota just keep shit kicking around? You know what I mean? Throws himself touchdown passes, bro. He's got like I don't think he's ever been to a Super Bowl, but like he's got one of the goofiest career arcs ever, bro.
One of my favorite football facts, so I'm gonna talk about it as much as I can. But the great performance of Mahomes and the lackluster loss would be enough for the Chiefs to trade away Alex Smith to the Commanders, where surely nothing bad would happen to him like all the other quarterbacks throughout the years, which brought on the wild Patrick Mahomes.
Yo, that was so wild. The Alex Smith thing is so wild, bro.
Era, where things would be so much better than Chiefs fans could have ever hoped. You see, they had some serious defensive issues this year, as 5 separate teams scored over 30 points on them, giving them a bottom 3 defense in the league. But offensively, they jumped from a top 5 offense the year prior with Smith to being the number 1 offense in the league. Mahomes was just doing everything anybody could have wanted. He read defenses so well. He was elusive. He could make some of these crazy arm angle throws. He'd throw the ball with his left hand. It felt like it was a matter of time before he would start throwing it behind his back or backwards, heck, even upside down. But then he would run headfirst into a year 18 Tom Brady, who would take him in an absolute boat race where Mahomes would make the grave mistake of scoring too fast and letting Tom Brady just methodically drive for the last 3 minutes to kick a go-ahead field goal and give Mahomes his first loss as a starter to arguably the best quarterback in the league. And the interconnectivity between Brady and Mahomes wouldn't stop there. After an exhilarating season with some games like their loss to the Rams, putting themselves in football canon for one of the most exciting games of all time, before going to the playoffs and destroying the Colts in the divisional round after securing the 1 seed before...
Bro, what the fuck is going on here? Why is my shit so fucking laggy? It's already super low. What the fuck? Yeah, whatever.
Mahomes would get his first playoff loss as a starter to, you guessed it, none other than Tom Brady. As after Mahomes would pull off the miracle 30-second, 48-yard drive to set up a chip shot field goal, he would never see the ball again in overtime, as Tom Brady would drive a full 75 to score. But that was Patrick Mahomes year 1. He went toe-to-toe with the GOAT twice and had an exhilarating performance both times. He put together the best offense in the NFL and was making massive waves as far as showing how good the Chiefs could be. And he had no plans of letting off the gas. But the year after, they would do something Chiefs fans could only dream of, which was lead this team through a dominating season. They would run the table in their own conference, and after starting maybe a little rocky at 7-4, would go undefeated after their bye week to end the season at 12-4 and as the AFC 1 seed, and then absolutely dominate the postseason. I mean, they spotted the Texans a 21-0 lead, where by halftime,
he's just building the story so you understand how good he was and what's happening now.
Texans wouldn't even be winning, and by the end of the game, it looked like a complete blowout in the Chiefs' favor with a 51-31 final score. Then they would run away with the second half of the conference championship before ultimately going into the Super Bowl, and after starting the fourth quarter down 10 and throwing a pick, he would lead 21 unanswered points in one of the most exhilarating comebacks against the Niners and broke the Chiefs' 50-year Super Bowl drought. But unfortunately, what we learned is that he didn't just break a drought. He broke a dam, holding back a bunch of Super Bowl wins. You see, the year after, even though it's in the COVID games, the Chiefs would pull off some of the best, wackiest offenses, leading the NFL in yards per game and only losing 1 game while Mahomes was starting. And let me just say, during this run, people were already ready to crown Mahomes as the best since Tom Brady, but there was one problem. Tom Brady was still playing, and this time they could meet in the Super Bowl, and would you believe it? They were on a crash course to do just that. And the last time they met, Mahomes finally shook the skeletons out of his closet and put on an absolute fireworks show, throwing for 462 yards while running for another 28, while going up 27-10, where despite Brady's best effort, where he threw 2 touchdowns in the fourth to bring it to 27-24, this time Mahomes would get the chance to smother Brady's his winning chances as he would methodically drive the ball and waste the final 4 minutes of the game. But that would be just a footnote as the Chiefs would go back to the playoffs, beat the Browns and the Bills before getting a chance to rematch Brady, where maybe in the most rectifying game in his entire career, Mahomes appeared to be sacrificed on the field for the sake of his career. I mean, the Buccaneers defense was absolutely running him ragged.
Yeah, because they just ran a
even
shell
then,
too
everyone
high.
was saying that he was playing his heart out. I think more people cite this game when talking about his resume than talking about some of his other Super Bowl performances, and for good reason. Because despite the fact that they only put up 9 points, Mahomes' heroic in this game against the big bad of Tom Brady went down as a mark of making him the biggest star in the NFL and the future of the sport, as the next 3 years would be nothing but solidifying that resume. Because the following year would be considered a slump year for the Chiefs, as they would start the season 3-4 before turning around and ending at 12-5 and going back to the conference championship before Joe Burrow would take the spotlight, and well, Mahomes took that personally. From this point on, it was going to be a legendary run. 2022 was one of the best years of his entire career, once again leading the #1 offense in the league, leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns before getting injured in the final game of the season, and seemingly using that injury to show a side of Mahomes we hadn't seen, as he literally limped his way through the postseason, still beating the Jags and Bengals, where he met a red-hot Eagles team in the A-gap to pull off a staggering win, taking down the Jalen Hurts-led team in one of the best games he ever played. To the amazement of Chiefs fans, that was 2 Super Bowl wins and 3 appearances in just the 4 years that Patrick Mahomes had been their starter. Was it magic? Was it plot armor? I mean, the last punt was pretty lucky, but who cared? But even on that high, the unthinkable was going to happen. They were going to come back the following year and look damn good again, this time led by more of a defensive-focused team than the high-powered offense we'd previously known, but that wasn't all that would be different from the previous year. This time in the back half of their season, after starting off red hot, they would have a little bit of a collapse, going just 4-4 in their back 8 games, where they would head to the playoffs as a wild card slot and beat the Dolphins handily before having to sneak past the Bills and Ravens in a rematch of Mahomes' first Super Bowl appearance against the Niners, where through an absolutely gritty game, Mahomes would take them to overtime and be able to put together one final drive to win the game. One of the rarest feats in football, something only 7 teams have ever done, just happened, which was back-to-back Super Bowl wins. This is after, like I said, a 50-year Super Bowl drought, and now they had been to 4 of 5 of the last Super Bowls and won 3 of those. Now, admittedly, this is how a Chiefs fan would probably recount this tale. The reality of it is that those 2 Super Bowl wins were a little bit more dicey than I'm letting on, and required more than just their fair share of luck to fall in the Chiefs' favor. I mean, Hurts literally had the ball slip out of his hands for them to scoop and score. Then the Eagles shanked a punt, which set up an easy, big return for a score. And the last drive, after throwing an incompletion to theoretically give the Eagles a minute and some change to attempt to drive to tie it, the refs would throw a defensive holding flag that many have deemed ticky-tacky to essentially end the game right there. Then the following Super Bowl, aside from the fact that how they got there was already a little bit lucky, with the Bills kicker missing a game-tying attempt from only 44 yards out, and Zay Flowers getting the ball punched out at the 1-yard line, which 99 times out of 100 is an absolute walk-in touchdown, both of which were definitely plays that decided those games as they lost by 3 and 7 retrospectively. But then they got to the Super Bowl itself and had stuff happen like the Chiefs shanking a punt, but instead of it helping the Niners, which the shank punt did to them, it bounced off of a Niners foot, extending their own drive and essentially breathing life back into this team who was coming out really flat. Now, don't get me wrong, you cannot go on a great run like this without some level of luck, so I'm not really using this to knock them, but it's definitely worth noting that it existed. Because in 2024, we are going to see the accumulation of all that luck in probably the biggest opening to a season ever. Now, I have made multiple videos talking about just the historically lucky run the Chiefs went on in 2024, and while I'd be tempted to just point you back to one of those videos, we're going to quickly run through it. Isaiah likely put his big toenail out of bounds on the final play.
Yeah,
Chiefs move on to 1-0. Bengals player was a step too close on an overthrown ball. Chiefs move on to 2-0. The Falcons have a whole load of bad plays and back-to-back red zone drive in the final few minutes of the game for the Chiefs to move to 3-0. The Chargers, 4-0. A couple true wins against the Saints and Niners before the Raiders have a fumble that would cost them any chance at winning, and followed that up with a game against the Bucs where they drop the game-clinching interception and lose the coin toss in overtime to never get the ball. 7-0. The Broncos set up a chip shot field goal to win the game, and it gets blocked. 8-0. Then they have their first loss to the Bills to move on to 8-1, and at this point, a lot of things had to go their way to be undefeated, but it's not even close to being the end. The Panthers put together a great drive just for their defense to wet the bed in the final seconds, 9-1. The Raiders are in legitimate game-winning position and only need to run a few more plays to kill the clock and end the game when the snap comes back when it wasn't expected to give the ball to the Chiefs. 10-1. The Chargers, 11-1. And then they coast through their final 3 games before they put up their backups against the Broncos and get taken behind the shed and shoved into a wood chipper to the tune of a 38-0 slaughtering, as they now had one of their best records to date at 15-2. Now, despite the fact that they were the number 1 seed and had their best record ever, a lot of people kind of felt like the Chiefs were in a bit of a bubble, and that bubble was just waiting to pop, because you can't expect to win every single one-score game, and yet the chips just seem to fall right for the Chiefs to be a perfect 10-0 in one-score games up to this point. Now, all we could do was sit around and hope that something would change in the postseason, but unfortunately, that was not going to be the case. Against the Texans, they would suddenly look a little bit more like their old selves. Despite it being close in the first half, the second half would see a totally out of characteristic missed extra point from the Texas kicker Kavai Fairburn, as well as a missed field goal and a blocked field goal to keep them out of having a chance to win the game at the end.
What are the odds?
Then the Bills would have their would-be slew of questionable calls, but those kind of went both ways. But once again, it was just their 11th one-score game that happened to go their way. So yeah, they were really doing it. They were about to go to their 3rd Super Bowl in a row with a chance to three-peat it.
Oh,
which is
that
a feat
sucks,
that
American.
no team has ever done in
I
the
feel
history
you. They
of the
annoy me
NFL,
too,
and had
dude.
they
They're
won,
your
it
girlfriend's
would have
favorite,
forever
though.
cemented them
Makes sense, dude.
amongst probably the best dynasty to ever exist. And sure, maybe they had changed their style of play from less of a offensive team to more of a defensive team, as the offense kind of stepped back to be a role player. But, you know, that's something a lot of great quarterbacks have had to do to win Super Bowls, so no one was really going to hold that against them. But it would be what happened in the Super Bowl that would change everything. The Eagles would come out and for 50 minutes beat the ever-loving dog water out of the Chiefs. Real ball knowers will always refer to this game with a score of 40-6, despite the 2 garbage time touchdowns that the Chiefs were able to put up in the waning minutes of the game, and this time it had to bring up a pretty uncomfortable truth. Yes, the Chiefs had 3 Super Bowl wins, but in their 5 Super Bowl appearances, they had a total point differential of -13. This was already starting to draw attention of people who wanted to talk about Mahomes being the greatest of all time, because really, we hadn't seen anything like this before. I mean, Brady, of course, had lost 3 Super Bowls himself, but by a total of 15 points. And you know, Peyton Manning had a bad loss in a Super Bowl in his own right, but that was to easily the best defense of our generation and arguably one of the best defenses of all time. I mean, losses this bad are saved for games like when Kerry Collins led the Giants against a rock-solid defense of the Ravens in 2001 and just got taken to work.
Old.
And we're ignoring the fact that this year he also only barely had a top half of the league offense with pretty minimal overall changes to the Chiefs roster. I mean, they still had Kelsey, Kareem Hunt, Pacheco, as well as 3 Pro Bowlers and 2 All-Pros on their offensive line. So a lack of production was written off mostly by him trying to do his best Tom Brady impression of controlling the clock and managing the game to allow his defense to shine. But that being said, a poor Super Bowl performance could be overlooked, because let's face it, Peyton Manning even had kind of a reputation of not showing up in the biggest games, and he's still seen as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And Aaron Rodgers has had trouble even making it to the Super Bowl, and he's still seen as like the best arm talent the NFL has ever seen. So it'd be pretty presumptuous of me to assume that one poor Super Bowl performance was really going to be the thing to take Patrick Mahomes out of the spotlight. So there was almost nothing that he could actually do to change the way everybody views him, right? Well, that was until 2025. 3 back-to-back-to-back Super Bowls in the rear view, and the Chiefs dynasty appeared to completely collapse. Don't get me wrong, they would start their season 5-4 as they entered the bye week with a few key wins, as the only team to have a winning record that they beat was the Lions before the bye. But after the bye, it truly dissolved. They drop a game to the Broncos and look alive for a split second against the Colts before they had a true fallout, as they'd end their season with a 6-game slide, with Mahomes even doing a half checkout as he nurtured an injury in the final 3 weeks, since their playoff chances were already gone, as they would end a paltry 6-11. To say that this was unexpected would be an egregious understatement. I mean, they brought back so many players from last year, guys like Xavier Worthy, who were ready to take that next step forward from a rookie campaign, and they were supposed to have the literal magic man Patrick Mahomes, who could make them right anyway. Not to mention they still had Steve Spagnuolo, Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and a solid defensive unit who were a top 10 defense in the league. But my God, their offense was just that bad. I mean, this was a bottom third of the league offense, and don't get me wrong, I know quarterbacks aren't expected to lead the league in offense every year, but usually when teams have these incredible down years, it's due to crazy extenuating circumstances and not just bringing back your entire team who went to the Super Bowl the year prior and having no major injuries. Now, this wasn't an absolute death sentence for his Hall of Fame chances or anything, but I think it marks a surefire tonal shift where in the past, year in and year out, the great quarterbacks could always expect a certain level of consistency in play, and maybe we should have known that Mahomes' high motor carrying this team was just not going to be able to last forever, but I think everyone expected him to be able to sit back into that game managing role like guys like Manny, Brady, and Rodgers all have had to do at different periods of their career, depending on their roster structure and scheme, like we sort of saw him do in his 2024 run, where he had let a defensive scorer and a big punt return make up for a big chunk of the yards in the Super Bowl. So now we have to reckon with the fact that maybe he's not the top 5 best quarterback of all time like we thought he was. Maybe he's a quarterback with a top 5 of all time peak, but with a trough this low, with a valley this low, it's going to be way different how we have conversations about Mahomes moving forward. But the reality is that these last 2 years, with the stain of a game that happened in the Super Bowl, followed by the absolute coffee on a white shirt that we just saw for the 2025 season, he's going to take some while to be able to rinse that out, if he ever can.
The point differential in his losses and wins blew my fucking mind. I was like, damn, I didn't realize it was that big of a gap, dude. Like, woo, you know what I'm saying? Fell asleep like a sax player. Come on. My bad, dude. I know it wasn't the most exciting segment of the show. I am trying to just kind of fill out time during the off season. There isn't much to talk about, bud. So, I do appreciate you guys hanging out though and suffering through it with me. We got through it together as we're getting through this off season together. Full steam ahead, boys and girls. Hit the like button, share this content around with everybody you've ever met and know. Turn them on to the Hat and Beard Show. Say, hey, you like the Lions? You might like this cat. He's based AF. We are the Mad Hatter Nation, based as F, and a bastion of sanity and a sea of nonsense. I'm Hat and Beard. This is the Hat and Beard Show. Appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. Until tomorrow, have a good day, guys. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been attentive audience. Bonga bonga. Frig off.